Remember when Paris Hilton wore that iconic pink velour tracksuit and carried a chihuahua in a designer bag? Well, she's doing it again. And this time, she's not just bringing back her iconic era. She might be resurrecting Britney Spears' entire "oops, I did it again" aesthetic. And honestly, we're here for it. Let me take you back to the year 2000. Britney Spears dropped "Oops, I Did It Again," and the world went absolutely insane. That red latex catsuit, those baby tees with low-rise jeans, the butterfly clips, the frosted lip gloss. It wasn't just fashion. It was a cultural moment. Britney wasn't just a pop star. She was the blueprint for early 2000s femininity. Every girl wanted to be her. Every guy wanted to date her. And every fashion brand scrambled to recreate her look. Fast forward to 2025, and something wild is happening. Paris Hilton, yes, that Paris Hilton, is stepping out in looks that scream Britney's "Oops" era. We're talking about the same energy, the same vibe, the same fearless fashion choices that define the turn of the millennium. But here's the question. Is this just coincidence? Is Paris paying homage? Or is she strategically reviving an entire aesthetic that the world has been craving? Let's break this down, because there's way more to this story than meets the eye. First, we need to understand why the "Oops" era was so significant. In the year 2000, Britney Spears was at the absolute peak of her powers. Her first album had already made her a superstar, but "Oops, I Did It Again" cemented her as a global phenomenon. The album sold over 1.3 million copies in its first week. That's insane even by today's streaming standards. But it wasn't just the music, it was everything surrounding it. The "Oops" era represented a very specific moment in pop culture. It was post-Spice Girls but pre-social media. It was the peak of MTV's Total Request Live. It was when music videos were events, not just content. And Britney embodied all of it with this perfect mix of girl-next-door innocence and confident sexuality that nobody had really nailed before. Her fashion during this era became legendary. The red latex catsuit from the "Oops" music video? Iconic. The all-denim outfit she wore with Justin Timberlake at the 2001 American Music Awards? Unforgettable. The low-rise jeans with visible thong straps? Controversial then, nostalgic now. Britney wasn't trying to be edgy or avant-garde. She was accessible, fun, and aspirational all at once. Now, Paris Hilton and Britney have always been connected. They ran in the same circles. They partied at the same clubs. They were both blonde, both famous, both defining what it meant to be a young woman in the spotlight during the early 2000s. But their styles were different. Paris was more about that heiress glamour, juicy couture tracksuits, Von Dutch hats, oversized sunglasses, and that signature "that's hot" attitude. Britney was more pop princess, crop tops, platform sneakers, and choreographed dance moves. But something has shifted. Recently, Paris has been spotted in outfits that feel less simple life and more baby one more time. We're seeing her in butterfly-adorned accessories, in pastel colors that scream early Britney, in silhouettes that echo that playful pop aesthetic. She's even been photographed in outfits that directly reference Britney's iconic looks. Whether intentional or not, the parallels are undeniable. So why now? Why is Paris channeling Britney's "Oops" era in 2025? There are a few theories, and they all connect to larger cultural trends. Theory number 1, Y2K nostalgia is at an all-time high. Gen Z has discovered the early 2000s, and they're obsessed. Low-rise jeans are back in stores. Butterfly clips are selling out on Amazon. Platforms like TikTok are flooded with Y2K aesthetic videos. When you have an entire generation discovering and romanticizing an era they barely remember or weren't even alive for, it makes perfect sense that someone like Paris Hilton, who lived that era, would lean into it. She's not just following a trend, she's reclaiming her moment. Theory number 2. This is about reclaiming narratives. Both Paris and Britney were heavily scrutinized and misunderstood during their peak years. The media was brutal. The paparazzi were relentless. They were both reduced to stereotypes. Paris, the dumb blonde heiress. Britney, the train wreck pop star. But in recent years, both women have reclaimed their stories. Britney's conservatorship battle brought global support and sympathy. Paris's documentary revealed layers of trauma and resilience that the public never knew about. By revisiting the "Oops" era aesthetically, Paris might be reclaiming that time period on her terms, celebrating the fun and freedom of it without the judgment. Theory number 3, it's strategic branding. Paris Hilton is a businesswoman. She's built an empire, and she understands cultural moments better than almost anyone. If she's noticing that Britney's Oops era is resonating with audiences again, why wouldn't she tap into that? It's smart, it's relevant, and it connects her to a moment in pop culture that people are actively romanticizing. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about fashion. It's about what the Oops era represented, a time when pop culture felt more innocent, more fun, less cynical. Before cancel culture, before every celebrity move was dissected on social media, before the internet made fame feel exhausting and performative, the early 2000s, for all their flaws, had this bubblegum optimism that people are craving again. And Britney's Oops era captured that perfectly. It was bold without being dark. It was sexy without being explicit. It was confident without being confrontational. In a world that feels increasingly heavy and divided, there's something deeply appealing about going back to that vibe, even if just aesthetically. Paris bringing back that era isn't just a fashion statement, it's a cultural statement. It's saying, remember when things felt lighter? Remember when we could just have fun? Remember when pop music and pop stars felt like pure entertainment instead of think pieces? There's power in that nostalgia, and Paris knows it. And let's be real, if anyone has the credibility to bring back the Oops era, it's Paris. She was there. She lived it. She helped create it. When she wears a butterfly clip or a baby tee or channels that early 2000s energy, it's not cosplay. It's a homecoming. But there's also something poetic about this moment. Britney Spears, after everything she's been through, is finally free. She's living her life on her own terms. And now, at the same time, her iconic aesthetic is being celebrated and revived. It's like the world is finally giving Britney her flowers while she's still here to receive them. And Paris, whether intentionally or not, is part of that celebration. So, did Paris Hilton just bring back Britney's Oops era? I think the answer is yes, but it's bigger than just Paris. She's tapping into something that was already simmering beneath the surface. A collective desire to revisit a time that felt more carefree. A recognition that the early 2000s, despite all their cringeworthy moments, had something special. And a celebration of two women, Paris and Britney, who defined that era and are now reclaiming it. The Oops era is back, and honestly, that's hot.